You're live, it says. And here it is. Here's the mallet. Woo-cha-cha-cha. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't know who you are yet, but say hi in the chat, so I do. And I'm glad you're here. Glad we're all here. Man, it is what it is. I had a good day at work today, and I recently, like last week, got a promotion. So that's something to celebrate. That's something exciting. I still don't necessarily feel like celebrating, but I have things to celebrate anyway. So you just got to do it. You got to do it. And I'm in the mood for a bit of escapism and working on this project that is not necessary is like that for me. So I'm glad to see you here, and hopefully we'll get to just do some wood burning. There's the picture. What we have right now. That's what we have right now. And this is already heated up, and we're gonna get going on it. That's the plan, anyway. So here we are. Here we are. What I should do first? I don't know. I don't really know. Does anybody really know? I don't think so. I'm thinking. So there's this big brown, like darker part. I'm gonna hit that real hard, darken that up even more, so that it looks like it's meant to be there. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. So and this may surprise you, but what I think, that I do. I try to keep the distance between what I think and what I do as small as possible. I believe having a big gap between what you think or what you feel, which I don't necessarily think should be considered separate concepts, and what you do. It's like the definition of disgenuineness. I think when people give you the compliment of, "Oh, you seem so genuine," that's really what they mean. They mean like the distance between what you think and feel and what you do is really small. And that's kind of, I think for a lot of us, that's kind of just the goal. And it turns out it's one of those kind of goals that's extremely achievable. All you gotta do is do it. So, which is cool because most goals in life are not like that. Most goals in life, you gotta do it. Maybe it is that simple, Whatever your goal is, you just gotta do it. in the logic of the picture, there's not really a whole lot of explanation for why it's like that. But, you know, win some, lose some. There we go. That's what it looks like so far. Somebody recently saw my drawings with all the cross hatching I do. Perfect example is the style of what I'm doing right now on here, right? And I've got all these really long lines that look really straight, and I've got all the lines coming out of the sun, obviously. And somebody saw it and they were like, "Do you use like a straight edge or a ruler? Like, what is it that you use to do that?" They saw me drawing a church, and I was like, "No, I use practice." They were like, "How do you do that? Those lines are so straight." And I was like, "Practice." It's like, I guess there are some things I'm, above average at. So, kind of encouraging a little bit. But that's really the truth. Like, the only thing I've done that they aren't doing is just practice, just time. It's not like my hands were magically able to do this when I was a kid or something. You just gotta practice the things you like doing, and then you'll get good at the things you like doing. And if you get good enough, maybe somebody will even pay you for it. Although at this point, based on how many hours this has taken me, I don't think anyone in their right mind would pay me what the cost of this thing is. If I were actually keeping track, which I'm not. But that's the whole point of doing this. It gives me a time when I can work on projects that otherwise don't really make much sense to invest my time into. Although I am going to change the format of these videos so that they're like 5-minute little updates each week instead of basically like announcing all the things, saying hi to all the people, and then like showing you what I've done instead of me uh, calmly and uninterestingly working on things while you happen to watch, which is, not as entertaining. But I figure since I started this project this way, I'm gonna finish it this way. That's my plan. That is the plan. And that line was a failure. Part of why my lines look so straight is because I do so many of them that the ones that aren't straight kind of just get like not noticed, right? Because you have one crooked line and it's mixed in with like 50 to 100 straight lines. It kind of just looks like another one of the lines. It looks like another straight line. But it's not always true. I can confirm it is not always true. They are not always as straight as they appear. There's actually a lot of ways to cover up not a straight line so that it ends up looking straight. One of those ways is to make it not perfectly well shaped so that you can't tell what it's supposed to be and not supposed to be. We got like a couple not straight lines in a row. And I'm not happy about it. I'm gonna throw a riot. Because that solves problems. That's how problems really get solved, is when you throw a riot. That was sarcasm. I do not believe riots tend to bring about the desired effect. They do in some cases. I mean, the revolution, I'm sure, was a riot. I think that's beginning to come together. I think that looks good. I'm liking it. I'm liking it, you guys. You better be careful when I start saying things like that. But I am. Truth be told, I do like it. I think it's starting to look good. I was thinking today about how I know what my perfect day feels like. I've experienced. Hey, Dad. Welcome, 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 Dad. Glad you're here. I was just saying that I have had perfect days before, like days that I genuinely feel could not have been improved on, and I know the formula for replicating that experience. And I've had more than one like functionally, experientially perfect day, right? And I realized I'm really not putting all that much effort into doing that regularly and making my life into a perfect life, like into the life I really want it to be by doing what I really want to do. So and I was thinking, I was like, man, maybe I should do more of that. Maybe I should focus more on that because I have 2 days off a week, and those 2 days One of them gets used for chores, and one of them gets used for Sabbath. Well, Sabbath is great. I need a day of rest. I can't stand to work every single day all the time. But then the other one gets spent working on whatever needs to be done. You know what I mean? Or whatever ought to be done. I shouldn't say needs to be done. Ought to be done. Well, by the time I finish everything I ought to do, I haven't done what I really want to do. And I need to be more intentional about that. And I was doing good there for a while. I was writing pretty consistently for about 2 months almost. But then once we switched up to 40 minutes a day, it's actually quite a bit. And so I ended up having to like break it up and do it in two 20-minute chunks. And it kind of just gradually got harder and harder and less and less of a thing that I wanted to do, and more overwhelming in my brain. Not like actually, but like just in my brain. And so I'm thinking that I need to kind of lean back into that, enjoy the fulfillment that comes from that more, instead of coming up with excuses not to do it. I need to do a better job of coming up with excuses to do it. You know what I mean? Look for excuses to do good things, not excuses to do bad things or less things. That's what I always say anyway. I got a new phone. Oh my goodness, you can reflection in it. It's so clear. It's a it's an iPhone, and I love it. And I made a terrible mistake today, because one of the things I enjoy about my iPhone is not having a case on it. And today I made the mistake of mentioning that if work said I needed to have a phone, and so I couldn't, like, it was important to my work for me to have a phone that was safe, like in a case. I said, if they buy me a case, I'll put it on my phone. I don't know what I was thinking. I shouldn't have said something like that. That was not smart. It's one of those classic moments where you're like, oh, I just put a door in my own boundary. And I enjoyed that boundary, you know, in this case anyway. So we'll see. Hopefully they don't take the bait on that one and they don't end up doing that. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they did. So, because as employers go, mine is very reasonable. And I think having a case on your phone is the reasonable thing to do. Am I a reasonable guy? You know, in some ways, definitely. In other ways, I'm better than reasonable. I'm thoughtful. So we'll see. But the promotion's exciting, partly because obviously I get paid more, but also partly because I get more responsibility at work, and that responsibility will force me to have to learn more things, and so I'm getting to learn a bunch of more things, which is cool. So yeah, yep, my phone is back on track. Back on track. Which is kind of too bad. I was definitely thinking about getting a dumb phone, because I think a lot of things in life would be improved if I had a dumb phone. But there are a handful of apps that I feel like I couldn't move without. That's what it came down to. I was like, I get so much joy out of, for instance, I get so much joy out of the Regrid app. I would hate not being able to look up land information. Like that would just that'd be super bummer. So, and I take notes in my phone basically all the time. So having a less convenient version of taking notes would be pretty awful. Yeah, so there's plenty of reasonable arguments for why Nick should have a smartphone, and so he does. But he's still gonna complain about it. It's the truth. I still want a dumber, simpler life. Yeah, my number stayed the same, but we are no longer moving. Junior, the guy we were gonna move in with, he progressively was getting worse and worse, and there wasn't any point in us moving in there um, without him. Like we were moving in there to help him. Well, he passed on now, so yeah, we don't have a reason to move over there, and so we're gonna re-sign our lease soon. We told them because the reality is like if the family who has just now inherited his property from him, if they decide they're going to sell it after a few months, there's no point in us renting from them because then we lose out on this lease, and this lease is by far the cheapest one around, right? So we'd kind of be up a creek without a paddle. It wouldn't be super responsible of us to do that. But if they were willing to rent to own, so something like that would be worth. Hey, Mom, glad you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We were just talking about how we are no longer planning to move in with Junior because Junior is now resting with his fathers. So, as they say. Although I guess he got cremated, so maybe he's not. I don't know if he's probably not actually going to a cemetery. I don't know. I don't actually know that he's getting cremated. I just think he might be. So, yup. But oh, Mom, welcome, and look at how far we've gotten. So the sun we finished last week, and we're doing a bunch of the desert speckling this week. And I'm not super happy with the way the shadow turned out, so I'm thinking I might do something a little bit different with it. But that's what we've got so far, and I think it looks pretty good. I think for the most part, I think it looks better in person than it does on that screen. Which I'll fix sometime. Sometime I'll get some light for you guys before I finish this. I'll get the lights set back up so that we have better lighting in here. So. Yeah, look at all that. That's quite a bit of cross hatching that I've done so far. But I think it's coming together. I think it's looking really good. So, and it's gonna keep getting good. It's gonna continue that way. So that is the plan. So, hey, Mom. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If I'm not careful, that's going to become some kind of catchphrase. Oh, one thing that's different is I've been making TikToks every single day lately. So if any of you guys enjoy TikTok, you might enjoy what I've been putting out. It's pretty relaxing TikToks. Just doing my thing. I should look up what's my most popular TikTok right now and start and just do more of that, whatever it is. Oh my. See you, Dad. Love you. Tell Lisa and Nathan I love them too. So, yeah. We got a third person. I don't know who you are, third person, but I'll show you the current progress. Look at that picture we got going on here on this lovely mallet. The backside looks almost blank, but this the front looks. I think it's coming together really well. Oh, hey, Lisa. Hey, China uses. Oh, you worry about the way China uses TikTok? Yeah, every time I upload a video, it asks me for access to all of my photos, and every time I have to be like, no, here are the ones I've selected. So, yeah, no, I get it. That's fair. Uh, there's a lot of things to worry about on social media. So, yeah, because I mean, the reality is, do I trust China more or less than I trust Mark Zuckerberg? No, not really. I think they're probably both just about the same amount of evil. Do I think? Do I trust some big corporations more than others? Yeah, yeah, but maybe not when they're that big. It's the same reason. So I get it. I can relate though, because I mean I don't buy anything from Amazon for basically the same reason, which is I just don't trust Amazon. But make sure you let them know you'd be interested in purchasing. We can't purchase. We can't afford to purchase. I assume you're talking about. Are you talking about Junior's house? Um, so we don't have the money to put a down payment on anything. Um, but we are trying to get pre-approved with our bank. It's a long process for people that don't have much money. But hopefully in the next year or two we'll get pre-approved. Thank you for the thumbs up. I don't know who gave me a thumbs up, but thank you. I appreciate it. It does a lot for the algorithm. So, but we told them. Well, we told one of them that we'd be willing to rent to own, even though we like normal renting wouldn't work. Um, but I don't know yet. We'll try to stay in conversation with them because that's like that's the hardest part is is keeping the line of communication open um, with them. But anyway, so yeah, we'll see. But also like you know, if it's not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen. If it is gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If it's gonna be if us receiving that or us buying that is gonna cause drama in the family, then I don't think it's probably worth it. I don't think it's worth it for us anyway. Like we don't need extra drama and this and that and stuff. And so if things work out, things work out. That's the way things work. So we're gonna put it in God's hands and we'll see what happens. So that's my plan. I'm gonna trust the one who can be trusted and let the chips fall where they may. So, and to be fair, that strategy of trust the one who can be trusted and let the chips fall where they may is a strategy that has worked really well for me in the past, 5 years or so. It's the reason. It's like that's the strategy that uh, allowed me to find Erica, right? Um, who before that point I totally was not ready for and would not have been able to treat her right. And it's so it led me to Texas. I mean, when I showed up here, I didn't know that I had anybody that could help me out. I didn't know there was anything here other than Erica. So, but God had a plan. Like God had Junior set up and ready for me. Uh, Junior Junior has even had told me, like, um, ever since his wife you know uh, went to rest, he's didn't always feel certain or sure of why he was was continuing on, and yet here's this big huge contribution that he made in my life, um, right before he kicked the bucket. So I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm the reason he was alive. That'd be ridiculous. But I am just saying, like, you just never know. You know, you never know what God's plans are. You just don't. You just never know what His plans are. Sometimes you think you know, or you want to know, or you. Um, Sometimes we like to try and pin God down on what His plan is, and truth is, He's God. You know, He ain't getting pinned down by nothing. So you ain't gonna nail Him down to nothing. He does what He wants, and I trust Him. So we'll see what happens when it comes to buying Junior's place or anything else for that matter. So, but yeah, they know. We told Jeannie, and so she knows that we'd be interested. But like I said, also like we wouldn't be able to buy it the conventional way because like we don't have any money, so we'd have to do a rent to own, which is interesting because like the story of how he got his first house was an old man that set him up with a rent to own deal. And he says he was like, I probably would have never been able to afford a house, being a truck driver and all, and if it weren't for that one man's kindness, old boss of his. But basically, he was still renting when they started raising kids, and his boss was like, "You you need a place of your own." So then his boss, at the time, uh, rented him out an extra one of his houses that he was gonna sell. Instead, he just rented out to Junior as a rent to own situation. So, so I think it's a kind of a cool story. I hope if I'm ever a landlord that has places to rent, I think I hope I'm that generous, helping young families get started and stuff like that. But kind of love the idea of being a landlord and like helping people get their lives together and get started and getting out of homelessness and stuff. Can't be a landlord until you get some land. That's how it works. So. One step at a time. It didn't cost me a dime. There we go. Look at that. There we go. $43 minutes. That's the longest we've done a video in a while. So that's probably a good sign. Good sign that maybe my depression is starting to calm down a bit, which I think it is. It feels like I've been feeling a bit better the last week or two. Still very up and down, but hey, it's Lisa. For some reason, I can't type on my phone. I was going to tell you that you can add color to your mall carvings really easily, and it looks awesome too. Well, I'm glad it looks awesome. What kind of coloration are you thinking of? Because I do have plans for what I want to add to it. So depending on the coloration, could work. We could experiment with something. I don't know much about colorations that work well with linseed oil, because that's definitely what I'm going to do with it in the long run. Because that's what I do with all my tools, and I love that stuff. So we're definitely going to impregnate it with a lot of linseed oil. But if there might be some kind of stain or paint or something like that that could add some color. Yeah, I think if I were going to add color, it'd probably be like some kind of maroon, like just to add some like dark deep wood coloration to it, especially on this side, but maybe a little bit on parts of it, like maybe on parts of this side as well, and definitely the handle. That'd be super cool. But yeah, if there's some kind of stain that works well with linseed oil, I don't know. I hadn't even thought about that. I almost never do. Like most of my stuff isn't in color. Although a lot of my drawings this year have been in color. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen some of them. But they're looking really good this year. I think my drawings have really stepped it up a notch this year. I've gotten a lot better. I've never really drawn in color, and this year I've started drawing in color quite a bit. So, well, I'm going to let y'all go. Got a few more things to add to the Patreon that I've written. There's a story that I'll probably the next time that I have a day where I do some writing, which will hopefully be every day, right? Like that's the way I always talk about it, because that's the way I plan on it. But I'm also being realistic. So whenever that is, there will probably be a story gets posted at the end of my next writing day, because I've already written the story, and I think it's really nice. I think it's a really pleasant story, but also it's good to like take a step back from it and then go back to it. So that's what I'm kind of doing right now. Is I'm gonna jump back in there, do some touch-up editing, make sure everything is crisped up a little bit, and then we'll post it. That's the plan. So, but yeah, and I'll post that to because it will be done when I do it. I'll post it publicly to Patreon. You won't have to be a patron to see it. or read it on my Patreon, so you'll get to read it yourself. It's just a short story. It's not like connected to any other stories that I'm working on. It's just its own short story. It's based on a dream that I had, which I often get a lot of my ideas from either daydreams or night dreams. So, but yeah, and I think it's a pretty nice little story. I think you'll like it. At least my parents, I'm pretty sure, will like it. It's very cute. So, all right. Well, I will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Hit that bell, stay well, and I'll see you when I see you. Ending live stream right now. Wham. Blop, bop, boo, bam. Blop, bam, boom.